Inspired by Judy Blume's groundbreaking 1975 novel Forever, watch the reimagined coming-of-age series about young love by Mara Braca Keel, the iconic creator of Girlfriends. The epic love story follows two Black teens, Keisha and Justin, as they explore romance and their identities through the awkward journey of being each other's firsts. Watch Forever, premiering May 8th only on Netflix.
Only the best will do for mom. So make Whole Foods Market your Mother's Day destination. Shop the floral department for vibrant blooms like tulips, orchids, peonies, and expert-crafted bouquets. Then head to the wellness and beauty department and give mom a spa-like experience with scented candles and more. And if you're hosting brunch or dinner, order flavorful Whole Foods Market catering by May 9th. Celebrate Mother's Day with Whole Foods Market in-store and online.
I'm actually going to throw a shocking wrench in this thought process that may or may not freak people out. I don't know. I don't know if what I'm about to say is controversial. I don't think that the universe cares about marriage. You know what I mean? Like, you're talking about manifesting, law of attraction. You're talking about attracting something into your life on an energetic level. I think you can attract love. I think you can attract companionship, friendship, a great, like, beautiful life experience with another person. I don't know if the universe cares about marriage. That doesn't seem like a universal thing. That seems like a human thing. So what sounds to me is like you've attracted energetically this amazing partner, but now you want to attract a human element to that partner, and that's where the disconnect is. Hey guys, it's Rach. Welcome to the show. I'm so glad that you're here with us today. And I have a favor, which sounds kind of harsh if we just met, but I'm assuming that most of you have been a part of this community for a hot minute. And so I gotta ask, are you subscribed to the podcast? Subscribing to the podcast you listen to regularly is one of the best things that you can do for hosts like me. It helps to support the show and the staff that works on it. It ensures that you never miss an episode when we drop a new one. And here's the cool thing about subscribing. If you do it and then you hate this show, just unsubscribe. It's one click away. In the meantime, if you're listening, we would so appreciate it if you would just tap that button and make it official. Hey guys, it's Rach, and we're back for another episode in our Ask Rach series. These are conversations where I am answering questions from the podcast audience. People call in to our hotline number. They call in from all over the world and they ask me all kinds of things. And during these episodes, I answer them. Now, before we jump into today's episode, if this is your first time here, you should know a couple of things right off the bat. I am not a doctor nor an expert in anything other than my own life. So the advice I'm going to give today is just exactly what I think of in that moment, as if you were sitting across from me and asking this question over coffee. I don't prepare my answers in advance, so if it sounds off the cuff, that's because it is. And I like it that way because I think it's more intuitive and not as professional. You can't see me doing air quotes, but I am. Also, it's important to remember that if I say something that you're like, well, I don't like that advice at all, just go ahead and ignore it. That is the power of making up our own minds and living life our own way. I share tons of ideas on this podcast, but you can feel free to listen for entertainment and ignore anything that doesn't make sense to you. Let's jump in with our very first question. And I don't know what it's about, but I'm going to click on this one because producer Jack said relationship/marriage. That sounds fun. Let's see what we got.
Hi, Rach. This is Angie. I'm a long-term listener, and I just had to get your take on a situation. I have been in a relationship with my boyfriend for 2 years. Both he and I have been divorced. We get along so well. The relationship is a huge blessing, and I think he would agree with that. I brought up marriage, though, and it was the most awkward conversation. he seems like he doesn't want to do it. His kids are a little older than mine. I do have 2 teenagers still living at home. He says we should wait until the kids are older. And I honestly just don't know if that's an excuse. He is trustworthy, but I think he was just put on the spot. And he wanted to make sure that my feelings weren't hurt after this conversation, but they honestly are. And he's just wanted to move on to talk about different topics. We talked about this back in October, and he said nothing since. And he knows that I was hurt. And I told him I feel like the person that I'm meant to marry, when the topic comes up, wouldn't try to just make excuses. He would perhaps say that we need to figure out the timing, because I do get that. But I think it's just something I'm not sure I can quite get past, that he just didn't seem to be excited about the prospect of me being his wife. So I really don't know what to do. I am hesitant to bring it up again, but would love to know your thoughts. Thanks, Rach. Really appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Oh my gosh, Angie, what a great question. And I say great question because as you were talking, I got so many different thoughts and feelings that I'm just going to throw at you in a big giant pile and hope that something I say is helpful in no particular order. Let's start just with the fact that marriage means different things to different people. And if you both have been divorced, that's saying to me that you both did something before, you both got married before, and it did not work. Depending on how much work we do as people, and by work, I mean go to therapy to figure out our stuff and understand why we are the way that we are after we go through a divorce or a big breakup, depending on how much work like that you do, you'll be better able to handle the idea of maybe getting married again. I don't know how much work your boyfriend did, and I don't know the circumstances of his divorce. There are lots of people, and I can feel y'all, if you're listening to this and you're one of these people, I can feel you nodding your head. There are lots of people who went through a breakup or a divorce so bad that the idea of going into that situation again it's a no-go. It's terrifying. Or maybe it's that situation was so bad. I love you so much. I don't want to recreate this situation again with someone that I'm really having a good time with. That's one option. Okay. I only know the context of your call. I don't know exactly what's up, but that could be something. He wasn't expecting the conversation. Maybe he thought you guys were on the same page. It came out of the blue. That's one option. Another option is, do you know if he actually wants to get married again? That's like a really important place to start, because it sounds to me like you definitely do. You definitely want to get married again. Do you know if he does? Because if he's like 100%, I want to get married again, but then when you brought it up, he wasn't gung-ho about the idea of marriage, that definitely feels a little troubling to me. Because I do agree that if he wants this thing again, but you talk about it and he's not that excited, okay, I have some questions there. But I'm sort of just wondering if it's more the institution of marriage and what that represents to him, more than it being about you. There is what actually happens in life, and there is the meaning that we give to it. What actually happened in life was you had a conversation with your boyfriend about marriage where he told you, maybe we should wait until the kids are older. The meaning that you gave to that conversation is he does not want to marry me. Or I think you actually said he doesn't want me to be his wife, which sucks because it means that you internalized a conversation and made it about you somehow being wrong. And you're not wrong. It is so normal. You've been with someone for 2 years. You both have kids. It is very normal if you want to get married again that you start to ask, hey, like, what's our plan here? Especially if you have teenagers. I know my teenagers felt really weird about saying my mom's boyfriend because Kez, in all intents and purposes, has been their dad for 4 years. And we only got married on New Year's Eve. So we've only been married for 5 months, but he's been a really important figure in their life for 4 years. And they didn't like it. It made them feel really weird to say my mom's boyfriend. They wanted to say, at the very least, like my stepdad. And that was a huge factor for us. There's so many things that go into play in a situation like this. And I think you just need to understand what you're really dealing with. If he has talked about wanting to get married again, but he had a weird reaction when you talked about getting married to you, I would be concerned. If it's more just that he doesn't want to get married again, let's dig into that. I, as you all know, was raised in a very conservative religious household growing up. And a lot of those narratives played out in the person I became. No shocker there, right? But after I got divorced, I never imagined I would get married again. Never, never, never. It didn't even occur to me. I think that some people want to get out of a relationship because they fantasize there might be someone better out there for them. That was not, I had no fantasy of that. I didn't even know if I would end up in a long-term relationship again. I just didn't want to be in the unhealthy relationship I was inside of. But after I had gotten divorced, I had zero desire to get married again because of how badly the last one went wrong, because of what it's like to understand, like truly understand that you made up a fantasy about someone who didn't exist. Like to find out, I just know so many people, this is their story, where they go through a divorce or a big breakup and they actually see the person they were with for the first time and they're like, whoa, and that's terrifying. That makes you not trust yourself and your own judgment going forward. So there's like a lot of fear in that. So I was just like, I'm never doing this again. And I went through a divorce where I'm trying so hard. I've come at this like a million ways trying to figure out how to say this politely, but just like absolutely everything was done to screw me over financially. And it's not what you think, because I think you see movies and you're like, oh, where the wife wants a certain amount of, no, it is the opposite. It is, I financially supported my ex. Like it was so intense for so long. And the idea of ever finding myself in a situation where half of everything I had worked for was given to someone else. And I mean, the rights to my books, like everything, the podcast you are listening to, everything that I had built, half of it was for my ex. I totally freaking get the idea that you wouldn't want to put yourself, and I'm speaking on your boyfriend's behalf, that like, again, I don't know his story, but like if there's any similar situation where you've been through the messiest freaking possible scenario in a divorce, I get why you wouldn't want to get married again. Now, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with pulling a Goldie Hawn and a Kurt Russell and just like being in a committed relationship forever but not getting married. But you might. And if you have an issue with that and he doesn't want to get married, that's another red flag. And I want to be really clear, because I think people throw this stuff around too often. It's not that something's wrong with him. If someone doesn't want to get married, they're not wrong. If someone's like, I love you and I want to be with you and I want to build a life with you, but I don't ever want to get married, he's not a bad person. But he might not be the right person for you if you do want to get married. Because for some people that is very important, and they have a more sort of like classical look on the way that a relationship is supposed to be between adults. And like, again, however you like to roll is awesome. Unless you are mismatched with someone who doesn't want that too. So the big headline is, y'all need to have another conversation about this, and maybe more than one. But if you actually want to skip to the finish line instead of having a bunch of conversations that turn into arguments, that turn into hurt feelings over the next 2 years, if you just want to skip right ahead to the finish line, then you need to be willing to have a conversation with him where I use this term too much. And now that Wicked's come out and Cynthia and Ariana are holding space for defying gravity, if you know, you know. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, that was just so weird. But you need to hold space for him being able to tell you the truth. And that means you listen without judgment or emotion and you just take in the truth. Lots of us inside of relationships say that we want to know what's going on, but we want to know the version of it that will make us feel the most comfortable. Angie, at least if he tells you that he doesn't want to get married ever, you know. At least you know. And then you get to decide, do I love him enough to stay with him even if this isn't what I was imagining? Or no, I really wanted to get married again. I really wanted something more traditional. I really wanted to be a wife again. If that's the case for you, then you might have to make a really hard decision. You might have to break your own heart. But right now, you're operating with a bunch of factors that you don't know what the actual truth is, but you're allowing the stories you make up in your mind to hurt your feelings. The next step for you is just going to be having a real conversation where you find out what's truly going on.
Inspired by Judy Blume's groundbreaking 1975 novel Forever, watch the reimagined coming-of-age series about young love by Mara Braca Keel, the iconic creator of Girlfriends. The epic love story follows two Black teens, Keisha and Justin, as they explore romance and their identities through the awkward journey of being each other's firsts. Watch Forever, premiering May 8th only on Netflix.
Look, everyone knows that toilet paper is not created equal. Not all rolls are the same. Some are too soft. Some, can we say, sort of crumble, if you know what I'm saying? Then other toilet paper is so strong that it can actually hurt. And let's not even talk about the toilet paper that is so thin, it doesn't get the job done. Angel Soft is soft and strong and always affordable. Come on, life is too short. There's too much going on. I don't want to have to overthink this. So pick up a pack of Angel Soft in the toilet paper aisle of your nearest retailer. That's Angel Soft, soft and strong. Simple. All right, let's see what our next question is. And while I look for the next one, this is a perfect opportunity to remind you that if you have a question for me, you can always call the hotline, 737-400-4626. You can ask me any old thing you like. If you ask me something that feels maybe a little embarrassing, you don't want people to know it's you, make up a fake name. You can ask us to leave the question out, to leave your voice out. You can ask us to change your name, like whatever you need. Let's just ask the question so that we can properly get you some advice. All right, let's see what this one has to say.
Hi, Rach. My name is Virginia. I live in Maine. I am an equestrian coach and a mom of a 15-year-old. I just recently self-published 3 books, children's books about my horse. And I do have a question about in regards to being a mom and trying to navigate social media, especially now that I've written the 3 books and working to market them, brand them, and all that. And I'm trying to gain a little bit larger of a social media following. How do you go about not embarrassing your children? I'm so curious with you having 4 kids and having such a major social presence, especially with the podcast, and you're so open about everything you talk about. I just struggle with the mom guilt of like, Mom, my friends saw that. It's embarrassing, or something along those lines. So I'm curious if you ever have to go through that or have any advice about that. I appreciate all you do. Love listening to you. Been a long-time follower and wish you nothing but the best. Thank you.
Ooh, Virginia, I love this question. I also love that are you a horse trainer or you train people to ride, or are you both? I honestly loved taking riding lessons. You didn't ask, Virginia, but I'm just going to tell you. When I lived in Austin, I used to take English style riding, and oh my gosh, I absolutely loved it. that is neither here nor there, but I just wanted you to know we're bonded in that. And I love that you wrote books. That's so cool. Congratulations. Okay, thoughts on embarrassing your kids with social media. My first question is, were you embarrassed? Were you embarrassed by whatever you made? Now, I'm going to make this up. I occasionally will go check out TikTok to be reminded that I don't really like TikTok. This is just why I keep starting a TikTok and then stopping doing it, because I go on there, I'm just like, I am overwhelmed. But there's a lot of trends on TikTok, right? There's a lot of dances, like that's how it started. And then there are, things that you can do where you're lip syncing over an audio recording, you're lip syncing over a song, or whatever. There's a lot of things that when people who are professional content creators do that content, it's incredible. We all know what I'm talking about. And then there are the videos that people make where they are not professional content creators and they try and do a trend and even they feel uncomfortable. You can tell it in the video. You're like, oh, what? No, why did you do this thing? And then there are other people who are not professional, but they are like having the best time. They're silly. They're not taking themselves too seriously. They're trying to do the trend. They're pretty terrible about it, but that's also like what makes it so charming. But you can tell that they are confident in their ability to make that video. Not confident that it's going to be good, but just confident in like, here I am, like this is my story. As long as you feel confident about the thing you are creating, go for it. If you make something for social media, and by the way, I am giving you this advice like just straightforward because you wrote children's books about horses. So I'm going to assume that you're not dancing on the bar at the club down the street in some booty shorts. I'm going to assume that what you're doing isn't embarrassing because you're doing something that would mortify your children, but just because you're out there and their friends saw it, right? So as long as you feel good about what you made, put it out. And if you made something that you felt really good about and your kids thought was cringy, oh well, guess what? That is part of being an adult, is that your kids are going to be embarrassed of you every once in a while. Oh well. As long as you felt good about what you put in the world, that's it. Like, that's what matters. Now, what if you put something out and when you made the video, it was because you heard that there was a trend to do a thing and you did your version of like the horse book. I don't even know what this could be, but you did something. And when you were doing it, you were like, oh my God, this is not. Like, just as a side note for anybody who's making content, if you're not pumped about what it is, take a beat. I know that the world is just telling everybody to just dump all the stuff, put everything out in the world, just content. I freaking promise you that if you spend some time and effort, and I don't mean obsessive effort, but if you just like think it out in advance, what do I want this video to be? What's the point in making this video? Am I trying to entertain my viewers? Am I trying to raise awareness about the fact that I have these new books? Am I trying to explain that this is an incredible story to read to children who are 4 and under? Am I trying to reach a community of people who already have horses? Like, there's a million questions you can ask about the content that if you take some time to think it through, will make the quality of that content so much better. It's not about chasing a trend. It's about, can I create something good for the audience I'm trying to reach? And as long as you've done that, put it out. But if you don't feel good about it and you were sort of cringing, then it's possible that what the kids are picking up was your discomfort with what you put in the world. All that to say, I'm really conscious of trying to tell my truth, trying to tell my story in the work that I do. And you wrote a children's book, so we're in different worlds here because you're not going to talk about like bleeding too much in perimenopause like I am. But that is a true thing that I live with, and I have teenage sons. who maybe wouldn't like to come across a video in their Instagram feed where I'm talking about my period. But it is such a part of our lives and has been a part of our lives since they were little, that I talk about things that affect my body and my mental health and all of it, that I think they're pretty desensitized to it. I think that if I went about it in a more aggressive way, or if I don't know, like if I, there's just ways that you could create the kind of content I create, but make it really uncomfortable. And I'm just not ever going to be that person. So yeah, I'm sure that at some point there's been something where the teenagers, because the little kids don't have access to social, but the teenagers for sure. Like I've had clips on Instagram I'm thinking of where I talked about, it was sort of a teaser, and I talked about the first time that I had sex after I got divorced and how scary that was. And I'm sure that that didn't make them feel great if they happened to see it. But at the same time, if I'm on a podcast tour or if I'm doing a Rise conference, the teenagers have seen those speeches. So they've kind of heard that conversation already. Yeah, I guess it's just pretty normal. There's not a difference between the mom they see on social media and the mom they get at home. So maybe that helps. I'm not acting like anything other than I am. But yeah, if it's just because you were on the internet and their friends saw it, just be like, yeah, I'm really proud of these books that I made, and I'm testing some stuff out. I don't know what's going to stick, but I'm trying a few different things to see what my style of social media is. And I think it's so cool that your friend saw it, but like, yeah, babe, this is just what I'm doing. And when you're older, I hope that you'll remember this as how important it is for us to experiment and try new stuff. Like there's so many teachable moments in this, but just remember that how you respond to their embarrassment will set the stage for whether or not that embarrassment is appropriate. You know what I mean? Like if you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, babe, that must have been, or if you're like, oh really? Oh, that's so fun. Like they saw, oh, did they like it? Whatever. I don't have my comments turned on anymore. I haven't had comments for a long time, but back when I had comments, the greatest hype squad I had were my teenagers' friends, who were just so lovely and kind and would say the nicest things about the content I was putting out. They still sometimes text me. Like the kids from Austin will text and be like, oh my God, you're so beautiful in that picture of whatever. It's like, this is why everyone should have friends that are teenage girls. They're not my friends. They're my son's friends, but I pretend that they also like me. Anyway, you decide how you're going to react to this situation, and you are given an opportunity right now to show up for your kids and show them what it looks like when we live life for us and not in concern about what other people think, which is such a valuable lesson for little kids. They're going to go through their whole school career with people trying to influence their decisions based on embarrassment. So this is a real opportunity for you to show them what it looks like to live courageously. It's springtime, which means, at least here in Southern California, it's all about outdoor living. And this time of year, one of the best places to shop for all the outdoor goodies is Wayfair. Wayfair makes it easy to tackle your summer home goals with endless inspiration for every space and every budget, including the outdoors. You can get big stuff like patio sets, gazebos, y'all, even hot tubs are available. I swear, every time I go online to look for stuff for my home, I always end up finding things on their website. Get your outdoor space ready today so you can enjoy and hang all season long. Shop a huge selection of outdoor furniture online. This summer, get outside with Wayfair. Head to wayfair.com right now. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair. Every style, every home.
Every day, thousands of Comcast engineers and technologists create connectivity solutions that change the way we work, live, and play. Like Kunle, a Comcast engineer who is focused on revolutionizing the in-home Wi-Fi experience today and for the next generation, Learn more at ComcastCorporation.com/Wi-Fi.
All right, let's see the next question that we have. Okay.
Hi, Rach. I just had to call you tonight because, first off, you have transformed my life. I am so grateful for your podcast every single day. I'm so grateful for the knowledge, the wisdom, the powerful moments and routines and habits that I have been able to learn from you and adapt in my life. So I just, first off, wanted to start this by saying thank you. I recently listened to your podcast number 789, You Are More Powerful Than You Think, and it has absolutely shaken up my world because your ability to explain manifestation and the law of attraction has completely tipped me upside down about a situation I have going on in my life. My boyfriend and I have been together for 6 years. After about, the first year, we pretty much committed to each other and said, like, you are the one. I love you. Let's do this. I see big things for us. I love you. I want to be with you forever. Well, COVID happened, tipped our world upside down even more. And then over the past few years, we moved and had to get our life back on track and, all the things. Well, I want to get married and I'm ready to get engaged. And I am just trying so hard to manifest and use the law of attraction in this situation of my life. And it is the most difficult thing because not only am I relying on myself to do it, but I'm trying to show up to him and bring it to the relationship. And I am just, oh man, it's tough. So I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what would you recommend to do to really truly manifest engagement, marriage, and really getting the ball rolling together? I'm really trying to figure it out. I'm starting to get frustrated with him because he's taking so long and it's not helping the law of attraction and manifestation. Trying to release timelines, trying to just let go. But I feel like I'm sometimes doing those things and I'm becoming the manic manifester. I'm interested in your insight, what you would do. Obviously, we are in an incredibly beautiful relationship. We love each other so much. We have started to build a life together. We want the same things. We both want families. We both want engagement. We both want marriage. Yet he just can't seem to get off his ass and get down on one knee. How to get that ball rolling, how to get that thing in your life when you're depending on either somebody else or something else. What do you do with that? I can show up to myself and to this relationship the best I can. How do I get this ball rolling in efforts to benefit me? Thank you for everything. Hope to hear from you soon. Okay, bye.
Wow, I thought of so many things. And as usual, whenever y'all ask me a relationship question, I take it from a few different angles because I don't know the full story. I just know what I hear in these voicemails. I do think it's really, I don't believe in coincidence. I just think that things line up. So I find it fascinating that I clicked on a link for producer Jack puts all of your voicemails as links inside of an Excel doc. And he'll write a little blurb about what it's about. And this one said banana bread. So I clicked on the link because I was like, well, that sounds fun. Let's talk about banana bread. And it's so interesting to me that this is a very similar question, similar but different than our first caller. So I just find that fascinating. But I am wigging out at the idea of manifesting, law of attraction, engagement. And I maybe am going to give a very different perspective than you were thinking of. As usual, just know I'm going to throw a bunch of ideas at you. Take what helps, ignore the rest. Number one, straight up, how do you get engaged? Okay, I'm going to say the same thing I said to our friend in the beginning. Skip to the finish line. Sit down, look him in his eye, and be like, bro, I love you. I think you love me. I want to get engaged. I think you want to get engaged. I want to get married. I think you want to get married. Is that true? If it's true, what is going on? I find it so wild that we are taught to aim at these relationships that are meant to last. Most of us are taught that we're going to be in a marriage that will last our entire lives. We're taught that that's what it's supposed to be. But when it comes to making decisions about that happening, we're not supposed to talk about it. Don't talk about it because that'll spook him. Don't talk about it. That'll scare him off. Girl, you've been together for 6 years, okay? We are over the fear. You lived through a global pandemic. We are over the fears of spooking this guy. And if you can spook this guy after 6 years, then he needed to be spooked. He needed to get out. That's maybe harsher than you wanted to hear, but I just go to such a place of confusion. Is it that you both really want this and what? He's scared. A lot of times guys have weird hangups about financials as it relates to marriage. I've heard that a lot over the years from you guys that, you know, you have a partner, but he doesn't think his job is good enough. And so he doesn't want to get married and his job's good. Like there's a lot of stuff like that. But if you are in a relationship with someone for years and you want to get married and you think they want to get married, but you don't know why you're not engaged and you haven't talked about that with them, that is where we have to start. There is nothing more important in your relationship. Nothing, no thing more important in your romantic relationship than communication. Communication doesn't mean that you talk each other's ears off all day and night, unless that's what you're into. Communication means that you can both speak freely, be understood, and understand. That's communication. So this is a big miscommunication right now, because if you truly don't know why you're not engaged and you're not asking him, I think that a lot of women are like, but then it's not as romantic. It's not as romantic. Girl, I did not anticipate being married again. I told you guys this earlier in the conversation today. But once I knew that we were gonna be married, and if you don't know this story about us, if we didn't have kids, we would just like rock together and not have gotten married. But it was very important to the kids. And we were both like, all right, absolutely. They lost their dad. We were like, you've been through, stability, like we got you. Once I knew that we were getting engaged, because we had had so many conversations that felt very pragmatic about that. The other thing was, I'll just like side note, the kids had lost their dad. And for the first time, I was very aware I don't even know if this will make sense to you guys, but like I was very aware that I could die. I think it is impossible to walk alongside your children or carry your children through the grief of losing a parent and not have it scare you with the idea that, oh my God, what if they lost me? What if that happened? You have to look at that. The first thing that I did, within a week of my ex-husband dying, was redo my will. Because I just wanted it so clear, like what would happen to the kids if something happened to me. When we had all these conversations, which were very pragmatic, like this is why we're getting married and blah, blah, blah. Once that was decided, some time passes and I don't know, like whatever. And then I was like, I need to be very clear with this person, because Kez is very, what's the word? He's very literal. I don't know if any of you have a partner like this. Kez is very literal. So you have to say like exactly what you mean. If there's any nuance there, he's like, it will be so confused. So I was like, I want this to be very clear. So some time has gone by. And one day, I don't know, we're on a date or something. And I said, just to be clear, I know that someday we will get engaged. And by the way, he'd never been engaged. He'd never been married, obviously. He'd never been any of this stuff. And so I didn't know what his thoughts were. When I met him, he was like, I never want to get married, like that. It was not on our radar. So I don't know what he thinks about any of this. But I was like, I'm going to be very clear with my expectations. And I said, when we get engaged, I have 2 requests. I do not want to be around other people, and I want it to be romantic. He was laughing, like, because look at me, sort of trying to control the situation. I said, no, we've had so many conversations. I don't want you to think that this is just like, it's not a big deal. It's a huge deal. And he was like, baby, I've never done this before. This is such a big deal for me. I promise, like, I won't approach it lightly. But I wanted to make sure. And like, when we got engaged, it was just the 2 of us. He got down on one knee. It was so romantic. It was so beautiful. But if I hadn't said that, might he have done it like in a public place or around our family or in front of the kids? And all of those scenarios would have made me feel super awkward. You better believe I just tell him, hey, this is what it is. We have to communicate. If our partner doesn't know, and we're not, like, how are they ever supposed to be a good partner to us if they don't know what that looks like? To me, this is the simplest answer in the world. Have you talked to him? Okay, that's just practical advice. Just have you talked to him? Now let's go into the woo-woo stuff and give you maybe a different perspective on it than you imagined I would, because I love manifesting and law of attraction. I'm actually going to throw a shocking wrench in this thought process that may or may not freak people out. I don't know. I don't know if what I'm about to say is controversial. I don't think that the universe cares about marriage. You know what I mean? Like, you're talking about manifesting, law of attraction. You're talking about attracting something into your life on an energetic level. I think you can attract love. I think you can attract companionship, friendship, a great, like, beautiful life experience with another person. I don't know if the universe cares about marriage. That doesn't seem like a universal thing. That seems like a human thing. So what sounds to me is like you've attracted energetically this amazing partner, but now you want to attract a human element to that partner, and that's where the disconnect is. I mean, that's where my brain went, was like, this is not the same thing at all. But when I was a little girl, I would always wonder, like, why does God care about cuss words? Now, you remember I grew up in this really strict home where I remember I said gosh one time. I said, oh my gosh. And my Mima was like ready to throw down because she said, well, you didn't take the Lord's name in vain. Rachel, you didn't take his name in vain, but you wanted to. And he knows that you wanted to. There was like a whole thing. But I remember being so confused, but like, wait a minute. The creator of the heavens and the earth cares about a curse word in the English language? Like, what? It's so confusing. It's so baffling. It's such a human thing that, at least in my family, they attach to this like spiritual thing, this religion. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. What else is new? I don't think that you can attract a marriage. I think you can attract a partner. You can attract a thriving relationship, but I don't think you can attract like a wedding dress and the cake and the engagement ring. Yeah, I think you have the thing that you want, right? You just want to celebrate it. Is that it? Like, it sounds to me like you have this relationship that you want, but like now you want the party. You want to celebrate it with your friends and family in front of people. You want it to be a whole thing. You want to wear the dress. You want to have the party. That's amazing. Law of attraction is you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. You can't be a wedding. You know what I'm saying? I guess, okay, I'm just trying to talk it through with you as if we're having coffee. I guess you could start celebrating life more. You could start making ceremony a bigger part. But I think that's missing the point. I think this is a practical conversation. I think you say to him with love, the same way you said on this call, like, what's going on? And let me just throw a little sideswipe for those of you who maybe find yourself in similar situations, because we've had 2 callers on one episode about this. What if you asked him to marry you? Is that weird? I know tradition says you want to get engaged the normal way. But what if you just asked him? If you both know, and maybe he just has some weird hangups about not being able to, like, okay, maybe you ask him. I have friends who are married to each other, 2 women, and one asked the other to marry her. And then like 6 months later, total surprise, the other asked they were already engaged, but they both like wanted the ability to ask the other person in a beautiful and romantic way, which is just such a like beautiful thing that happens inside of lesbian relationships where they're both romantic and they both want like a whole moment. But they both asked each other at separate times as surprises. And it was so beautiful. So like, why is it a thing? Like, why can't you ask him? And if you really want like you have this idea, I want him to do it. Well, girl, tell him what you want. Tell him what you want. If you want a necklace for Christmas, but he doesn't know that you want a necklace, don't be sad when you get snow tires. They try their best. They do, but it's not like in the movies. It's not like in the books. He's a real human. He might just not know. He might be like Kez. He might be so literal. You have to just tell him exactly what it is you want. I hope something I said today was helpful, guys. Lots of conversations about getting engaged. What's going on with this community? That's something interesting. Lots of you in that same spot. I'm here for all the questions. I hope that I find the link that's about banana bread, because whatever that question is, it sounds exciting. I will be back soon with more conversation. Until then, guys, call in and ask us a question. 737-400-4626. I love you, and I'm rooting for you. The Rachel Hollis Podcast is produced by me, Rachel Hollis. It's edited by Andrew Weller and Jack Noble.
At Strayer University, we help students like you go from will I to why not. For over 130 years, we've been innovating higher education to make it more affordable, accessible, and attainable so you can reach your goals. Go from thinking, can I, to yes, I can, and keep striving. Visit strayer.edu to learn more. Strayer University is certified to operate in Virginia by Chev and has many campuses, including at 2121 15th Street North in Arlington, Virginia.
The mother of all sales is happening right now at Designer Shoe Warehouse. Score up to 25% off big deal brands like Adidas, Crocs, Converse, Reebok, and more. And just in time for Mother's Day. Find the perfect gift for her or for you, because mama needs a new pair of shoes. And hurry, this mother loving deal ends Sunday. Save up to 25% at your DSW store or DSW.com today.